Well, this is the first day on the job, and as you can imagine, I'm very glad to be here after the announcement on the 20th of December. Whether it was good planning or, you guys have to excuse me, I think me, like everybody else in the state, has one of those little bugs walking around. But after the 20th of December, either by good planning or by luck or whatever, it's been a great time for me to have a chance to, at a bit my own pace, become familiar with the university at a depth that obviously hadn't been there before. And as I've done that, it's allowed me to have conversations with so many people around the state, students, faculty, alumni, important supporters, business partners, if you will, curators, current and former, trustees. In fact, I invited myself to a trustees meeting a couple weeks ago and invited myself to a curators meeting, all of which under the banner of allowing me to kind of get a jump start on what is today my first official day. And as I made those rounds, I also had a chance to have to start to say a little bit more than, gee, I'm excited to be here. At some point in time, there's an expectation for some context and content, which has been an important aspect of this process. What I've concluded is that there is an incredible passion around the state of Missouri for our great institution, and that comes from all of those stakeholders that I've talked about. But I've also concluded that, to some degree, we need to tell our story even more broadly and even louder, just because we have so many good things going on and we have such a unique resource here. And I think as the new president, that's going to be one of my key opportunities, is to continue that listening and learning process, but also to be the spokesperson, the advocate for the university and all the things that we have going on and all the things that we need to be dealing with in the future. The observations also have allowed me to start to kind of hone in on a few things that I think are important for us to at least pressure test and see how they hold up over time. On that list would be economic development, that we ought to be the economic development engine for the state of Missouri. We have some, I think, incredible opportunities and partnerships with foundations, be that Danforth, be that Stowers, be that Kaufman, to lead in economic development and life sciences, to lead in development around entrepreneurship programs. So those are all, I think, readily available for us to take full advantage of. As I've traveled around and visited now really all four campuses, even before I start, it's also clear to me that, again, we have so many good things going on, but we got to be sure that we have that in mind and protect that for the future. And that requires planning and looking around the corner to be sure that strategically we can anticipate the opportunities and challenges that are out there for us. So I look forward to working with the chancellors, University of Missouri Healthcare, to be sure that we do have a strategic plan for the future, and that represents all that our state needs and wants us to be, and certainly with two urban universities at UMKC and at UMSL, a special opportunity to be sure that we're paying attention to the urban core along the way. Third on that list is to be sure that we pay particular attention to the needs of our students. I think we have to be mindful that education process starts in kind of a pre-K through 12 mindset. And it's one thing for us to do a great job when they get here. It's another thing to be sure that they're prepared to learn and prepared to be educated as they come on board. So great interactions in the pre-K through 12, I think, is very important. Great onboarding problems, great onboarding opportunities that we have to be sure that as students come on board that they're prepared to learn, and great retention programs become an important part of that. I think we're in a technology model where education without borders, distance education, university without borders, ought to be something that we, again, look into the future and be sure that we're paying close attention to. Fourth point I would make is that we have to be sure that our business model, if I can use that term, our funding model, is going to serve us in the future as it has in the past. And I think we all know we've had challenges with funding levels coming from the state, and have to be sure that critical issues like faculty salaries, like new business development initiatives, can in fact be funded from whatever set of resources. So my notion is we have to be sure that we're paying attention to faculty and staff salaries, but also look to the future to be sure that there are models out there that would allow us to develop new sources of revenue and develop new opportunities to grow the university. And the fifth point, which is probably stating the obvious, is I'd like to see higher education have a continuous, important conversation in the state of Missouri. And as I mentioned, as I've traveled around and had literally hundreds of emails and letters, and for many of you in this room, as a matter of fact, I think it's so important to raise the consciousness about the importance of higher education. That is our lifeblood. That is our opportunity for success in the future, is to ensure that the University of Missouri leads in that. That's part of our mission. Part of our mission as a land-grant institution is to lead the way in the future, and ensuring there is a great conversation going on at a lot of different levels throughout the state is an important part of that, and certainly our elected officials are a key role, but our alumni, prospective students, all ought to be aware that the University of Missouri is going to be best in class related to taking care of our youth, ensuring our faculty have great programs for success in the future. So as I, again, take on the next few weeks, we'll have a chance to test those points, which at this point have been my observations and my accumulation of a lot of conversations, and certainly had my first staff meeting this morning, and already some opportunities for us to continue to work toward making what is already great even better, and things that we need to work on, be sure that we're putting our shoulder to the wheel to have that occur. So what I'd like to do is turn it to you. I mean, we've had a chance to have some interviews and dialogue, but I thought perhaps in this forum that we would have a chance just to open the floor for whatever you want to talk about for a few minutes, and see if there's some questions that we can get into.
Mark Slavitt with KRCG. Gary, I've asked you this question before. I'm going to ask you again today. What do you say to your critics who say that you don't have enough of an academic background for this job?
Well, Mark, I think the opportunity I have is to immediately show engagement and show respect for all that are part of this great university. Obviously, in the point of reference is for the faculty, for the staff, and for the students. I've been engaged since late December with the faculty on each of the campuses at different levels. Part of my making the rounds over the next 3 weeks will be to go and visit each campus, and I've asked specifically for sessions with the faculty and sessions with the students. But I also think it's going to be important for me to get past that first level of sitting around the table and what's on your mind. I want to get in and see what our faculty are doing, what their challenges are, how they support their programs and research, and be sure that they know I'm engaged and want to learn about what they do at that level. But what I've been very clear about is I want to be their biggest advocate. I want them to view me as their biggest supporter for the agenda that they have at the campus level, for the importance of education for our students. And I think as I engage with them, they're going to see that that's not just words, but I intend for the actions that I take in Jefferson City and Washington and around the state to hopefully convey that.
This is Brian with ABC 17 News. Right. Tuition, the price to come to the school has been always on the issue of students' minds and the community. How do you expect to kind of stabilize that?
Well, tuition's the corollary to faculty salaries is to ensure that we have a competitive and affordable tuition structure for our students. I mean, again, students are the lifeblood of our institution. There are a number of ways of coming at that, including special grant programs, and the governor has continued to fund those kind of programs. But the students have to view coming to the University of Missouri and coming to one of our 4 campuses as a good deal, and they have to see the value and the benefit for that. And over the past few years there have been tuition increases, but we have to stay competitive, and that's something that again is very high on the list of priorities, to be sure that we constantly look at our tuition, look at what that means to our students, and it really, to some degree, doesn't matter what neighboring states are doing. We got to be sure this works for Missouri and works for Missouri students.
Come on up here. I'm just trying to record.
That's fine. Danny Walhan, reporter for the Columbia Missourian. In light of what happened late last week at the University of Northern Illinois University with the campus shootings up there, I just wanted to know what your views on campus security were overall, and have you had a chance to look at the campus security policies for the 4 branches of the UM system? And if so, do they fit up to snuff with your ideals of what you want for a secure campus?
Well, first of all, I think we have to pause and reflect on the great loss to the students, the family, the community at Northern Illinois, and what a tragedy. And unfortunately, there's too many of those tragedies get repeated around the country. And we have to, again, think about the families in this time of their sorrow. One of the things that I did a couple weeks ago is I was coming down to Columbia for a visit and some specific meetings. I asked for a review of our emergency preparedness for our 4 campuses. And part of that was with a mindset of a little bit of my background and how technology has come into play. But I really sincerely wanted to see what we were doing from a preparedness standpoint. And obviously the corollary of that is, are we prepared to respond? And I think, and I had this question last week, I think we have to pay proportionate interest to being prepared, to ensure that we have alert systems and are using the latest technology, to ensure that we insist, if you will, that our students and faculty and staff register. I mean, an alert system is only as good as participation, and the campuses are working very hard to ask for students and faculty and staff to register for those systems. We have to be sure that we've got on-campus support for students that may be having difficulties, or faculty for that matter. And I think that all that goes into this notion of being prepared. So I did review our plans, a couple of weeks ago when I was in Columbia, and felt like we were using what's viewed today as best practices, which is again, I think what we have to set as a standard. But rest assured, those best practices and that preparation will take us so far, and we're always mindful of the events and have to be sure that we also have a response mechanism in place. But I did review that. We actually reviewed it again this morning at our staff meeting, and it's something that's going to be top of mind. Unfortunately, reminded to us about what happened last week at Northern Illinois.
Hi, President Forsee. Welcome. Alan Zager from the Associated Press. Past couple of weeks, the Missouri basketball program has been in the spotlight, probably for many of the wrong reasons, and I was just wondering if you might offer any observations in terms of those incidents and whether you feel the program is, the stewardship of the program is in good hands and so forth.
Well, let me talk about our university. Our university has been here since 1839. Our university has a great brand, a great name recognition. And that brand and that recognition is a product of millions of experiences that go along with being part of this university system. It's our students and the good things that they do on campus and after they leave this campus. It's a product of our faculty and what our faculty does in creating world-renowned projects and innovations and research and programs. It's a result of what our campuses have done in creating world-renowned programs, whether it be journalism here or engineering at Rolla and performing arts in Kansas City and ophthalmology in St. Louis. Whatever those hallmarks are of the campuses, those all reflect the image of our university. And certainly the success of our teams on and off the field is an important part of that imagery. And sometimes, obviously, that raises the image of the university, and hopefully it does in a very positive light. And sometimes when we have events, obviously that's a setback in terms of that image. But rest assured, my view is the image and the brand of the university is an amalgamation of all those experiences. And to comment on the specific, certainly I've watched the University of Missouri sports teams all my life and have relished the successes along with all of the opportunities that's presented for our student athletes. I think the coach, Anderson in this case, took decisive action and ought to be supported for that.
Hi, President Forsee. I'm Janet Saidi from KBIA Radio, an NPR affiliate here. And I'm interested in your great conversation that you want to have across the state to ignite a passion for higher education in the state. I think many people on campus would see that as one of your bigger challenges. And I'm just interested to know sort of what more specifically will you say to lawmakers, for instance, from Springfield or Cape Girardeau, to get them excited about higher education and the University of Missouri specifically? Well,
I think we have to, again, part of our advocacy is constantly remind lawmakers, alumni, citizens, that the University of Missouri has a unique mission. We are the state's land grant institution. We are the state's institution that grants doctoral programs and has research programs as part of our mission. I think if you were to do a survey, and the survey were to say, I think you would find not a wide understanding of what goes along with that mission, and therefore, who better than the university to be out talking about that? Dr. Gordon Lamb, formed a group called the Missouri 100, and that group is intended to be, again, an extension, if you will, of what goes on in our normal public relations and our normal outreach programs. And I've been fortunate enough in the last couple of weeks to meet with parts of the Missouri 100 in St. Louis at a large event, and in Jeff City 2 weeks ago at an event 2 weeks ago tonight. And again, you sense that level of support, and you sense the willingness to help. And I think what we have to do is turn that willingness and that passion into action, and that action can be as simple as doing a statewide visit to enlist alumni and enlist that support to talk about the university. I've gotten, as you can imagine, emails, letters, phone calls, and it's been incredible to me, the people that have perhaps been out there and haven't been asked to get involved, that want to support the university and want to support what we're about. And I think part of that comes with the realization that, budgets and funding models of the past may not be as productive for us in the future. And so alumni sense that. And they sense our voice about higher education has to be well understood and well heard. And so tapping into that is something that we're going to be working on. The Missouri 100 is one tangible example of that. I do plan a statewide tour as part of my coming on board plan. I think I've gotten a good running start of that over the last 6 weeks since the announcement, but that will continue over the next 3 months.
Hi, I'm Elliot News from the Maneater student newspaper at MU. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit about what Gordon Lamb's role is going to be in your office.
Well, I think we were so fortunate as a university to have someone of Dr. Lamb's experience and stature to lead the university for almost a year, 9 months, as the interim president. And as I came on board last fall, as I was having discussions about the position, really formed a very high impression and opinion of Dr. Lamb's background and his ability to assist not just me, but assist the university and to take on some initiatives that perhaps will allow us to move faster, move more aggressively than we otherwise might have as I come on board. So I've asked him specifically to help with some areas of economic and business development that are now around our 4 campuses, to take a look at that and be sure we have as much focus and attention on that areas as we can. And I've asked him to take on specifically distance learning. And it's amazing how some of these projects cycle around. I was on a curator's task force group in the early 90s, and the topic was technology and distance education. And I think as we look at the work that group did, good work, but now as we look at the technology and breakthroughs, we know that we have some opportunities there that can be unique. So I've asked Dr. Lamb to really take a hard look at that one and see if we can't look back a year from now and at least have a plan. We're not going to get to the finish line, obviously, but at least have a plan in place that would represent for the state of Missouri a best-in-class distance education roadmap, and then it'll be up to us to execute against that. But I look forward to continue to work with Dr. Lamb and look forward to him taking on some very specific projects, and I have a feeling we'll probably come up with a few others along the way.
Gary, I have another question for you. This is an election year. Are there any candidates or issues that you're publicly supporting?
Well, we have a very clear, I think, message to elected officials and candidates about our needs as a university. So my opportunity is to go out and be the advocate for that. I'm not going to talk about specific parties that have a point of view about that, but my role and that of the chancellors, that of the staff, is going to be sure that all of our elected officials and those that are running for office, know about the University of Missouri, know about our needs, and obviously we'll try to extract out of that process along the way commitments and get some indication of those areas of support that are important to us.
Maybe to jump back to athletics again here real quick. Obviously with the football team's success, this past year there was much talk about, where they belonged in the whole bowl championship series selection process. And well, what I'm getting to is that there were a couple other schools in the Southeastern Conference whose presidents decided to get vocally involved in reforming the BCS and, making sure that their schools had a place in college athletics. I mean, where do you personally draw the line as what a university system president should do as far as being a vocal point for athletic standing, in terms of reputation for the university and any of its campuses and along that line?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if we were to do a survey in this room about who would vote for a playoff versus some other system, we'd probably have 30 or 40 different points of view about that. Look, my role is to support the chancellors. I expect the chancellors to be principally involved and principally responsible for all aspects of their campuses, and obviously that includes the athletic department. So I've been clear about that as my role, and I stand ready any time of the day of the week or the hour of the day to support them and help them, provide advice, wisdom, counsel, to talk through any types of opportunities or issues that come along. But I expect the athletic directors and the chancellors to have that principal responsibility. If you want an opinion about bowl championship, I think it was fascinating watching the excitement week to week that played out during last fall's football season. And there's been actually commentary written about this basketball season nationally, not the Big 8 or not our Big 12 or Missouri or UMKC or anybody else, but the difference about how football played out